This is my journal entry for December 11th. There were more attacks today, but the enemy really can't do as much as you might think. This is a cheap Timu wig. I thought about wearing it to some new churches so I look different. And because the Kingdom of Darkness also will use your hair clippings and things to do witchcraft on. So you guys might not know that sometimes wearing a wig um, is a way to prevent yourself. And of course, it's not the only way. They'll harvest hairs any way they can, but it's just a little added layer of protection. Some of these covens, they do like voodoo and spells, and even barber shops, places like that. So, but anyway, this is just some cheap Timu wig. I don't know how much they cost now, but I got this um, probably 2 years ago or something. Back when they were like $5, maybe $8, not that much. Um, so I don't know. I might wear it to the church. Um, there was a huge operation going on. So there was my dog here. She is cold and she is on my lap, and she is not a lap dog because she's very long and skinny, and she does not really fit on my lap. Like, her butt is hanging off my knees, and she's not that comfortable, but she's very cold. So here she is on my lap, and you see she is cold because the big dog, since it's been wintertime, will lay on the couch bed, and then she does not have that blanket. And if I put a blanket on the other things, it's just immediately dirty or it falls off. So that's the only place that a blanket will kind of stay. And so she is now resting on my lap. Um, I've tried to improve our relationship. It took, like, this is a hunting dog, but she was also traumatized. So it took a long time. She was always a good girl, very wild, but it took a long time for her to love like this. Um, because she saw her siblings die in front of her as a puppy. So she just didn't trust that much. But, after enough treats and attention, and she is warming up. She's like 3 years old now. This is how long it has taken. And she was a good dog before, but she never was loving like this. And you just keep giving her leftovers and covering her up and giving her attention. And then she slowly warms up. So what I forgot to record yesterday was what happened at the end of the day. And maybe my videos were so long that I forgot about this because it makes more sense to include in today's video regarding the warfare that happened. So it was a good day at the soup kitchen yesterday. I'm sure some other attacks happened. I can't remember that, but there was something good that happened. So the woman that works behind the counter, they sometimes have pork, and then she tries to get some meat that's not pork for me. And she does similar things for other people. And they didn't have it, and I said, that's okay, you do what you can. And, after everyone had served and before it was time to go, she motioned you, like, hey, you. She said, everyone says you are so nice. And she had a big giant bag of, like, these goldfish cracker chips. It's, like, this big, so it's a larger bag. And they're like barbecue goldfish chips. I've never seen them before, but it wasn't even opened. And then she had like 3 fruit cups left, and she like gave them to me. She gave me this extra food. It was so sweet. And she was just really nice to me. And then the day before, or a couple days before, when there were the young children serving, they noticed this watch here, and the young boy, he must have been maybe 7 or something, I don't know. And he said, nice watch or cool watch, or I think he said nice watch. So that's a confirmation this was a good buy. Yeah, it was almost $50. It was. I tried several watches. I was just going to get a basic black watch. But some of them, they were too big, or they were too small, or they were too hard. They weren't really comfortable. And then this one here, I thought I liked the fit of it. I've gotten used to it. They had white and clear. I decided to go with the clear. It actually doesn't stick out as much. The white stuck out quite a bit, so this was more neutral. But the young boys saw my watch and liked it. I like it too because um, I'm an '80s child, or I'm an adult that was a child in the '80s, however you say that. And so they had like jelly shoes and like clear stuff like this. This is like a Casio watch, and they had good girl. They had Casio watches when I was a kid. And since I don't have a cell phone, I'm always looking at this. And actually, like, I wouldn't even want to look at a cell phone. You'd have to take it out of your pocket or your bag and look at it, probably push a button. This, I just look at it, and I see the time immediately. So even if I did have a cell phone, this is much faster. And it's right there. But it does get in the way of some of my jacket sleeves. So I just say, that woman, she was really nice. She said, come here, and everyone says you're so nice. And then I told her, well, everybody loves you. And I just say, because people have mentioned things about her, and everybody does love her. She notices what people need and tries to cater to them, and she is well liked there. So that will be a good comparison to what happened today, the type of spiritual warfare. I'm sorry, Sarah, she's not fitting on my lap. Oh, she's too long. Good girl. Good girl. So, today I went in, to the soup kitchen, and I think this was lunch. I sat down at a different table, and then, there was somebody sitting like next to me this time, and then there was someone on the other side, so we were very close. There was a lot more people in there than normal today. And then the woman, like, across from me and over one seat, she of course was an addict, I could tell, and she was with a man too. And he was, but actually they had quite a lot of intelligence, so they said they were trying to quit. So they really might have been, because they had like some intelligence and were able to hold a conversation. So, but anyways, there was a smell, like when you don't bathe in a very long time. I have probably smelled bad. Like, I'm not saying that. It's just when you are eating food, you don't want to smell this. I'm just going to say, it was a bad smell. And it was kind of funny too, I will mention this, that the man that she was with, he mentioned he needed to be fool enough to use his favorite bathroom. So they stop at the health department because they have a really clean toilet with good toilet paper. That's a good idea. I went to the hospital before, used their bathroom, and it was really nice. Really nice walk-in bathroom with a sink in there. So now I know where to go. I should have thought of this. Like, I got a Planet Fitness membership, but I needed to use the showers at that time, so. But anyways, there was a smell, and I was trying not to be rude. Most of the time there wasn't a smell, but like shifting a certain way, there would be a smell. Now, yeah, I don't want to be rude. Like, they were addicts, but recovered. But then, at that period of time, I don't know if they were on drugs or not, because they were able to hold a conversation. They mentioned something about crack. I don't know. But, I mean, it actually was a good conversation. And then something came up about pork, and, and I actually, they sat down, and then the guy was, or she was like, do you want this? And then he took it, and I said, oh, do you want my sandwich? Because this has pork on it, and I don't eat pork. And then later she mentioned, oh, look how small you are. This woman I was talking to, she didn't look that big to me. She just looked normal. She didn't look fat to me or anything. So I just thought she was normal. She looked at me, and she said, well, look how little you are eating all that food. She said she used to be big. And she didn't think, like, I could be this small. I'm not that small, actually. But anyway, she thought I was. Maybe it's dysmorphia, because I thought that she looked like, normal to me. She thought she was overweight. I don't know. But anyways, she mentioned, like, you eat all that food and they're that small or something. And then I said, well, there is one thing you might not like, and I mentioned about the ham. We're not supposed to eat pork. And then she said, oh, there's a pastor, and it's in there, and then later, and I said, no, we're still not allowed to eat pork. We're still not allowed to eat pork. And then, I was trying to be polite, not too rude or anything, but, and I said, that verse, which I believe is, later in Romans, is about high class versus low class food. You're still not allowed to eat pork. But anyways, and I went up and I got like something else. So I went to get more coffee, or they had coffee. I went up to get some coffee, and then they had these new like wrap things that were fried. They weren't out there before, and so I got one, and it looked like it was vegetarian or something. And then the woman that worked there said this one, and she put that on my plate. It did look really good, and it was really big and juicy, and it had egg. And I thought it probably had bacon, but I didn't say anything at that time, and because she already put it on my tray, I went and sat down, and then the guy that was sitting across from me was like, "What's that? That looks good." I said, "Oh, it looks like that has ham in it too." And I put it on his tray. He wanted it. It did look good, except for there was ham. Like if it was just egg, I would have eaten it. but but she gave it to me because it looked really good. It's just then they put a piece of bacon on it. Sarah, oh, you're getting to see my dog, which is why I decided to make this video now. But they talked for what? They had been together for 17 years. There was the 17. And they actually understood quite a few things. So, you know, I can't even remember what all we talked about. Like, talked about healing, health, like a little bit of politics, you know. And she had a dog, which I was a bit surprised, because many times addicts stay at certain types of homes where you can't have animals. So they might have been squatting, from what I heard, or living in a place and not paying the utilities or something. Or maybe it was just a cheap place and it was infested with mice. Because then the guy that was there, she had like what looked like 2 empty orange peel halves or something in her hand. It flashed me. And then the guy was like, "I don't really like it," but she had these mice. So like she feeds the mice, and they come out. They come out. So the mice, basically, he said when she lays down, the mice come and they like lay under her and they snuggle like she's their mama. And I can see that. And I said, but I don't like them because they get everything dirty, you know. But other than that, you know, they do have love and stuff. But, you know, she did have a smell, and that could be why. Because she sleeps with mice, and mice poop on everything. They poop on everything, and they don't smell good. But they are sweet little creatures. I used to have pet mice, and that was fine, because they would go back in their cage, and you could wash your hands. But she actually would lay down, and then the mice would come under her and, like, snuggle under her to stay warm. So that actually sounded sweet. She was bringing back some scraps for the mice. And the man was I don't know if he had like a missing eye, or one of his eyes was damaged, and he had a lot of health problems. And I mentioned, why don't you guys just go get married? Because they were living like they were married together 17 years. And they both like rejected it. They both rejected it. You know, that's disappointing. As the guy said, I'm gonna die alone, and I'm gonna die soon. I'm gonna die alone. How I came into this world, and she rejected. You know, that's too bad. That's too bad. That's how little they thought of each other. But it seemed like they were best friends, though. Anyways, like they probably this may have been at like a divine meeting to talk to them. Maybe it was an attempt by the kingdom of darkness to ruin my food again, because occasionally there would be a bad smell, and they knew that I didn't like this. They watched me. But most of the time, then I didn't notice it. So it wasn't too bad. It's just every once in a while. But that's what's going to happen if you sleep in a bed of mice. It doesn't matter who you are. But, and then she mentioned about the health department, and it has other free stuff there. And then I said, oh, I like the bathroom at the hospital. Because now, if my toilet's not working, then I can walk a block or two to the hospital, and they got really nice bathrooms in there. And I think they're open 24 hours. 24 hours a day. Let's see. Today was my laundry day, because last Thursday, and I did see the inspiration. They were inspired from outside of themselves. So I don't know if these are angels or humans that were inspired by God to get me a card to do my laundry, and they told me weekly, and they said the amount, and so then it just happened, like, you know, the devils and demons will spy, and then they will try to sabotage anything. So the dogs pulled all the blankets off the bed and dragged them all across the house and across where the sewage had leaked into the carpet. And then there was like leaves and hair and dirt all over the blankets, and it grossed me out. And then I just had to get that orange one, which I got as a throw, and it's still kind of too small. But I used that with some jackets, and it was still okay. But I couldn't risk not having any blankets, so I had like two blankets, and then I got some clothes, but I didn't really get my laundry down too much because I had to wash the blankets. So this is another spell the Kingdom of Darkness does. Um, but this was a divine appointment. Let's see what else is on my list here. So on my way to the soup kitchen, like, the people in the cars are sometimes rude, and the thing is, they have tried to, they have zipped past me way too close in a dangerous way. I have been honked at. People have done rude things to the point where now I'm trying to maybe stand up for myself, but I might actually be rude to somebody that is not being mean just by mistake, because I can't always tell if somebody does a little honk. I assume they're normally honking at me, like, what are you doing on the road? Get on the sidewalk, and they honk at me because I'm on the road. Yeah, I'm not on the sidewalk because there's ice on the sidewalk, and I already tried to go on the sidewalk, and it was slippery and bumpy, and it was not safe, so I got back on the road. It's like these dumbasses think I want to bike on the road. They can clearly see the sidewalks are not clear. They can clearly see they're not clear. So anyways, but maybe it was somebody that recognized me and they did a little honk. So this is what could happen. Normally, it's someone being an asshole. Normally, it's someone trying to tell me to get off the road. Okay, but watch, when I do something rude back, that it's actually somebody trying to be nice. They're like, hey, I recognize you, or it's something else. This could happen. But, enough people try to kill you. Well, I don't, yeah, they do. But, okay, enough people try to scare you. This is my means of transportation. It's like 20 degrees outside. I'm on a bicycle. The sidewalks are, some places they're clear, and then another block they're slippery and there's ice. So, I don't want to bike on ice. I mean, seriously, I almost slipped, and I felt the bike slip today. So, that was a little down. So I went in for dinner, and then there was, like, a guy, I don't know if he was a preacher. I think he must have been, and then one of the women volunteers, and they normally don't speak before dinner. If they do, I'm just not usually there in time. I guess I miss it. But then he stood up, and he had real inspired words from God. He went way back. He had Psalms, and I think Isaiah. He quoted, and those are real scripture. And they were good messages, and he said, God's speaking to you, even through, they have like a dry erase board, and he said, even right here, God's speaking to you through this message, and I do notice, yeah, they're targeted messages to me, and the message they're saying, I'm sure, for everybody, but like, normally there's a message for me, because I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know if this is some marker or something, so it's for everybody in different ways, I believe. But that was good. And then the woman said, it's the holidays. Some people have lost, family members and stuff. So just be kind and keep that in mind. That was a good message. Yeah, that is true. I know. I think about it. I have no friends and family, but I didn't before either. I mean, there were bodies there, but they weren't friends or family. So maybe that's why I'm doing fine in that regard, because they didn't love me. It's like you can tell they don't really love you anyways. So when they're gone, it's not a huge shock. Let's see. And then, so witchcraft was being used for dinner. There was a lot of witchcraft being used, but actually what they accomplished was very little. Very little what they accomplished. So they had a big mission to get me, and they didn't do much. So I will explain that it was unlucky in the soup kitchen. Well, it just wasn't lucky in the soup kitchen, I guess. So, like, after the preacher has a short little sermon, which they don't normally do, and the woman says that, then we all get in a line and go through. And then they had some desserts. And then they had, like, when I got near, I saw they had 2 iced cupcakes, and then they had one white one, and it had a lot of icing on it. I'm like, I want that. And then there was one guy right ahead of me, and he got it. he got my iced cupcake. It wasn't mine, but I'm saying that's what I wanted. And so then I came up behind him. There was one more iced cupcake, but it was squished onto a donut. And it was chocolate, which I don't like as much as the white cake, or the yellow cake. And so I'll get that one. And then it was squashed into the donut, and so it only had half as much icing on it. And then he could have tried to scrape it off, but he didn't. I'm just going to say he didn't even try. He said, yeah, and I said, okay, I wanted the icing. I didn't want a donut. I wanted a cupcake with a lot of icing on it. I mean, it was still good, but it would have been great if it was the other one. Okay. This is what the Kingdom of Darkness, they try so hard to get me. This is what they do. Then I go through the line, and they got some biscuits, and then there's some gravy to go on the biscuits. So I'm like, is that pork? They're like, yeah, you want to double up on the potatoes? I'm like, yeah. And so, so what they do, they didn't have anything else. So, I got twice as many potatoes. They were okay. They weren't great or anything. I mean, but I didn't get the gravy, and maybe I wouldn't have even liked the taste of it anyways. I don't know. Oh, Sarah. Sorry. She is a sweet girl, but she weighs like 35 pounds and is too big for my lap. If I had, like a recliner or something, it would be better. Sorry. So then, they had pork gravy, and there was no, like turkey or beef or other type of meat there. And so I got twice as many potatoes. And then, let's see what happened. What happened next? At some point they called seconds. I was still eating. And I saw some people had these little, like, they had small little cupcakes that were different. And so after I ate mine, or I still had some left on my tray because I didn't want to miss out. So then I took my cup and my tray, and I went up there, and I said, could I get just one of these little cupcakes? And, and I got one, and I got it like this, because I can't leave my tray or they'll mess with it, and I can't leave my drink or they'll put stuff in it. I know this by now. Even if it's only germs to make me sick, like, they'll just do that if they don't do anything else. Because I noticed I haven't been feeling well, and people were putting stuff in my drinks. Yeah, I wonder what they put in there. Who knows? But God won't let them do anything too bad. So, then I got the cupcake, and, after I got the cupcake, I went to sit down, and then this is the only time this has ever happened. I went down the wrong row, because they had poinsettia flowers in the middle of some of the rows. I went down the wrong row. I went one row too soon. And then I went to sit down, and a guy was like, you're in the wrong seat. He didn't say it like mean or threatening. He just, said, you're in the wrong seat, like normal. I'm like, oh, I guess I am in there. So I got up, and then I moved the next row, and I went and got my seat. And so this was what all their little witchcraft spells were able to accomplish. So anyways, then I finished this, and I was still thirsty because I only had one little cup of water. So I went back up, and I got another cup, and I kind of stood to the side, because I gave the guy my tray, got my cup of water, and then I kind of stood, like, next to this table where the water was, just to drink my water, because I was pretty full, and I'm like, kind of like this, like, like this kind of look on my face, and then the old man, who I did tell the name of my ex, so, the old man walks past me, the one who said he was a veteran, and, he did spread some lies about someone else that also did something wrong, but what he said wasn't quite true, and so I think he is an enemy, and what he just said to me is clear. So he walked past me, and, he normally doesn't talk to me, and he specifically said, like, how are you doing? Like, he said something in a way I knew what he meant. I was standing there, like, finishing my little cup of water, and I was like, kind of like this, and he said, how are you doing, looking at me, and I said, or how are you feeling, or something, and I said, very stuffed, and then he continued out. So I could tell this was letting me know he was involved in witchcraft. They were doing a lot of witchcraft spells on me. And he was letting me know that he was. I know this doesn't really sound like it, but the way he said it and what he said and the way he looked at me, and he normally doesn't speak to me, and then I knew he was letting me know that him and other witches and warlocks were involved in trying to get me, and he was letting me know that. And I was standing there like, because I was really full. I was really stuffed, and then I wanted some more water, but I was just trying to get it down. And I said, very stuffed. I didn't go and cry. And then the mama cat or something that works there, and then she wasn't like really nice to me or anything today. And then she was like talking to another volunteer there and stuff. So I don't, that's fine. But this is what all of their witchcraft spell accomplished, is that someone got the cupcake I wanted. And so I got a similar cupcake that was not as good. And then I still got another one later. And then the gravy had sausage in it, so I couldn't eat it. But I don't even know, I probably wouldn't have liked it. So I got twice as many potatoes. And then I went to sit down, and I sat in the wrong row. And someone was like, you're in the wrong seat. And so then I got up, and I got in the other row. I've never done this before. I know this was witchcraft, because I've never done this. And actually I was feeling kind of sad. Like, not like real sad. Like, I wasn't feeling like super sad or anything. I just wasn't feeling happy. I was just kind of like, I biked kind of fast, and I always do to get there, so I'm not late. And I was just like tired. I bike like a couple miles to get there, and there's hills where I live. And so I was just kind of worn out. And then I wasn't feeling happy when I came in. I just felt like maybe a little sad or something. Just not happy, not in a good mood. So that's what all of their witchcraft accomplished. That's what it all did. Let's see, what else is this? Oh, and also while I was in the line, the man who went to the Sunday breakfast and then to the other church, like, he tapped me on the shoulder or something, and he said, hey, are you going to go to church on Sunday or something? Going to church like this week? And I said, yeah, I'm going to get some breakfast and then check out some churches. So see, he completely ignored me the previous 2 days. Okay, didn't look at me, nothing. Okay, I already know the situation. So this is just a man, and then he's not doing anything. He's not making any decisions. But then the kingdom of darkness has a mission for him, and then he is activated. So he's probably going to try the same thing or something similar next or this Sunday. So I have to be very careful not to leave my food and drink. That's for sure. But I'm going to get some free breakfast on Sunday and probably go to a church service or two. And then I've got to go back home, and there's some other important things going on. I don't really know. I don't want to say too much, but my father, who is an enemy, but I will always care for. And I don't know if I think he might care for me, but he chose the kingdom of darkness over me. If your father is the Ahab spirit, I think he might have the ability to care and to love. But he loves evil. So good gets hurt. That's what I'm saying, but I'm not really sure if he actually cares about me or not. Because I thought he did, but I don't know. But now he's alone, and if anyone can repent out of all of my enemies, I think it would be him. So I don't know. He's going to drive to my house, and then I'm going to drive from there to go to the trial. So I can't be too messed up. I can't be too drugged, or I won't make it. But if that did happen, like, my father is not going to want to drive both ways. He's not in the best health. But if it came down to it, then he would. So, I mean, it's not just like I wouldn't have another option at this point. But I really don't want to do that. That would be inappropriate. So, God will protect me. God knows that I have to show up at this trial. And so God provided a way. There was a woman I thought might help me, and then witchcraft was used. So she didn't favor me anymore. And then she wasn't going to help me. And that's fine, because God allowed that, because that wasn't what God wanted me to do. God wanted me to ride with my father, and then maybe we'll talk. I don't know. And anything I tell him will get back to the kingdom of darkness. I'm sure. I'm sure it will. Well, maybe it won't, because he's not really seeing my daughters too much anymore, and he's not really seeing my mother too much, and he's not really seeing my ex too much, so maybe it won't this time. I don't know. But whatever. They've already tried to stop everything, and King Herod has tried to stop things. King Herod knew some things that no one else knew, and probably was involved in delaying certain things, and he was involved in getting my hopes up, thinking my house would be fixed, which good beings did channel through him, so it still will happen. But they didn't say when, and they didn't say how. But still, kind of sabotaging my house even further. So he was involved in that. So I came home after the dinner for a few minutes, and I tried to find something that sold again, which I just saw like the day before, and now is missing. Just saw it, and now it's not. I don't know where it is. And it's almost Sabbath again, so this is nuts. What happens to me? This is witchcraft too, I'm sure. Let's see, and then it was my new schedule to go to the laundromat. I thought to go on Thursday, because the people that took me last time, it was on a Thursday, they told me to come in once a week, so I came in. The woman that worked there was so sweet and so helpful. And, I almost feel bad when someone wants to help me. Like, if I say the wrong thing, I'll mess it up, and they want to help me anymore. that does happen. But she was so kind, so helpful. And then, when I was almost, she's even offered to help and go way above and beyond. Okay, got me some free bags, and they hold a card for me that is loaded and charged with money. And, let's see, and they just keep it, so, and let's pray and hope this continues. But anyways, they keep it there, and so when I come in, they put like $10 on it so I can get some of my clothes cleaned. And this is really nice, and I didn't have the ability before I got my bicycle basket. I bought a bicycle basket about a month or so ago, so maybe it was 2 months ago now. I didn't have any basket before then. And then my old bike, I had a basket in the front, but it was too small. It wouldn't fit anything like this. So, and then it got cracked. So this one is metal. I got it on Temu. I'm actually able to put things like a very heavy container of laundry detergent inside of it. That's what I did. So I went to the laundromat, and this woman was really sweet. We got to talking, and I'm not going to say everything that she said. But basically, she is a chosen one, and I was able to tell her some things and explain some things that happened and give her some information. And she said, her friends and family, they don't understand, they don't really believe, and so, and then I believed everything. I already knew, and I said, yeah, they're not going to understand, because they're not going through, most people don't choose to go through all of this, but the reward, I didn't say the reward is great, but we will be paid back, like the story of Job or something. So she would tell people, and they didn't believe it. Ouch, Sarah, they didn't understand. Let me put her down. Sarah, there you go. I didn't want her, she can jump, I just didn't want her to hurt herself jumping too high. But anyways, other people she talked to didn't believe her, didn't understand. They're probably karmics too, probably a lot of them are karmics, or they're just humans, and they're not going through this level of warfare. She had narcissists in her family. She had trouble with her children and her grandchildren as well, and so I was able to explain that to her and give her some information, but she understood everything. I likewise, when I said something, she understood what I was going through, and and she mentioned, "Well, you got a nice tan there. You got a nice tan. It's not that dark, but." And then I didn't tell her right away, but then we got into talking about some of the warfare and her warfare and things that have happened to her. I don't need to go into somebody else's life, but she's been through a lot. She still does have her family, but they are she has her family and she has children and stuff. It's just that they are causing trouble for her and taking her stuff, like taking her makeup, taking her dishes, but they're there. So, but I don't have any of it. So we're in a different situation. They're now gone, but even though they're not taking it, other people are destroying my stuff. But anyways, and then I said how my plumbing was broke, and to use the shower in the facilities, I got a Planet Fitness membership, because I didn't want her to think that I'm going out and spending money on tanning. I don't want her to think I'm spending money on tanning while people donated money to me to be able to do my laundry, because that's not the situation that I'm in. Basically, like when I moved to this town, Saul of Tarsus, who is Paul in your Bible, who is a traitor, was involved in this big setup with Ahab, Jezebel, and the devil, and no, well, the serpent devil. They're different devils. Also, to let you know, there are different ones. They're kind of all mixed together in Christian folklore, but they're different beings. The serpent, the biblical serpents, that's different. So, like, they all work together, and Paul of Tarsus was there at my house once a week, involved in breaking my plumbing and flooding my bathroom with sewage and spraying diarrhea all over my shower and my bathroom and everything. So, anyways, I got a Planet Fitness membership, and they broke the stuff too. I got a Planet Fitness membership so I could take a bath. I would go in like once a week and just like sit. I'd go into the handicap stall, because I don't think there were no handicapped women that went to this Planet Fitness. There's none. Maybe there was one handicapped man who would go to the men's, but there was no handicapped women that I saw. And I'd go into the handicap stall and put the bench out, and I just sit like that and just relax for like an hour. But now the water's not as hot. I tried it again a few months ago, and the water was not very hot. Like, well, it was like a degree less hot than it should be to be comfortable, so I didn't like that. I think they did that on purpose. I told them, too. And they said, oh, the furnace thing or whatever was going bad. We'll see if I ever use it again. Anyways, I had to get a membership there to use their shower. I didn't know where else to go. I was walking around the neighborhood. I was walking my dog, and then I come across a woman. She saw my dog, and we talked for a minute. She was an older woman, and she had little dogs. And I said, do you know any place where you can go get a shower? And she said, oh, the YMCA, and then it got me to thinking, the YMCA membership was really expensive. Now, it's a low price if you're older, but if you're my age, it's very expensive. I think it's like $50 a month or something, which is a lot of money. And I think they have a swimming pool and all that. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but that was more than I wanted to spend to just take a shower. And so, then I thought, and I looked around, I did a little internet search, not too long, but, maybe in 10 minutes, I had the information I needed, and there was a Planet Fitness 1.7 miles from my house. So that was the very cheapest way to get a shower 24 hours a day. And actually, even on the holidays, like, they might be closed one day, and then they're open the next day, or they're even open half of the holiday, like they're open like half of Thanksgiving. So, if you need to use their facilities and take a shower, you're normally able to. So this was a great deal. And they also do have tanning there. And I told her, but I didn't want to tell her at first, because she's gonna think that I don't really need this charity. But see, when you sign up and then they take the money out of your account, then you get like you get like a plan, and it's like for a year or something. I'm probably past that at this point. But, like, my bathrooms are still not fixed. There's still trouble. A lot of work needs done here. Like, the bathrooms need completely demoed and redone, I guess. Well, the walls need redone. The ceilings need fixed. The fixtures, everything needs to be redone, honestly. And so I am keeping this membership because what would happen if I ever canceled it? Then I would need to use a shower again and I wouldn't be able to. So I continue to use my Planet Fitness membership and I will keep it until my home is done or until I move. And even then I might keep it. Maybe because if I was in isolation and then I do start to meet other people, then maybe this will be something we can do. Maybe we could go to the gym together. And I did pay extra for my membership because I use the spa. I go and sit in the massage chairs and I use the hydro massage. And they have this thing that shakes and it has a red light. I didn't use the red light for a while. But anyways, that is worth the money. So, but she understood. This is something I signed up for more than a year ago. And at the time, I didn't have much money, but I wasn't like in debt. I wasn't in a very bad financial situation. So this was really fine at that time. And I thought that my bathrooms were going to be fixed, and then I signed up for it. Well, now, after I've been attacked for like a whole other year, then my living situation gets worse and worse and worse and worse. But we talked, it must have been like an hour. We just talked and understood everything, and she's been through different trials, things with drugs and other types of, problems. I'm not going to get into all of it. But I could tell she was a good person. She just came up and she was so kind and wanted to help. And I could tell, because they use beauty spells on us, and they damage us and they maim us to take away our beauty. So this is one thing the devils do. And she had some issue with her teeth. And this is not to be mean. I know exactly. This is one of the things these devils do. Is they don't want us to feel good about ourselves. So in my case, my devils would always do, starting with my mother, would do spells on my hair. They would do spells on my hair, and beauty spells. This woman, she had problems with her teeth. So it's usually one or the other. And I also have a toenail that they messed up. So they do this type of thing to us to make us feel like that we're not attractive or that we're not good enough, or we just don't like this thing about ourselves. But God will be able to fix it. I'm sure God can fix all of it, But they just try to, especially I guess if you're female, if you're a guy, it doesn't look good if you're missing teeth either. You can get the prosthetic. But still, there's some new technology that came out where it can regrow it. So, anyways, I've got this wig on too. So if my mother had my hair cut and she used my hair clippings actually to cast spells on that and cause trouble for me, and then tried to get me medicated. My parents put me on. This is something I maybe mentioned once many videos ago. Is that they cast spells, or my mother cast spells on me. She had my hair clippings, cast spells on me, and said I was depressed, and kept taking me to the doctor, and they put me on every single antidepressant. I was always on these drugs, and then I just quit cold turkey at some point. I don't want to take this crap. But why would she just try to drug me up to make me look like I'm crazy, to lower my brain waves? I think that's it. We all know what these Jezebels do. But she was the first one I know of that was casting spells on hair. They cast spells on teeth. They cast spells. And so, the narcissist, the one I met at the soup kitchen, who is not there anymore. He's not there. I haven't seen him in a long time. Well, he tried to cast a spell on my teeth, and I rejected it. He tried to cast a spell on my teeth, and I rejected. So, yes, they do. You have to know how to respond to this. But anyways, I told him, join the fan club. You can go ask who I am. Well, you know what? After that, I haven't seen him. No. He might still be paying people. I think he's still paying people to cause trouble for me. But I have not seen him show his face at the soup kitchen. Because I think maybe the old man, maybe told him the name of my ex-narcissist. And maybe he heard some things about what happened to him. Not doing so well. not doing so well. Now, on paper, it might look like he's doing great, but I know that he's not because he thought he had another supply, and he has a woman with no empathy and compassion. So great, then they will do well together. Anyways, he also meant to destroy me, and nothing worked. He tried to kill me, and it didn't work. He tried to have me homeless, and this is a house. This is a house with problems, but it's still a house, and I have my dogs. So there you go. And I don't have to deal with their drama, and their bitching and moaning, and they say nagging, and complaining, and whining, and, things aren't great here. But they weren't great before. They weren't. Okay, so, but that was nice to meet someone that had been through a lot of warfare. And, she tried to get her vehicle fixed, and then she would, like, have people, like, they said they were gonna, like, guys would tell her they were gonna fix her car, and then they would take the part she bought and return it, and then keep the money. And they would never fix her car. Instead, like, there's so many, like, you couldn't get anybody. She said this whole town was filled with these type of people. Yeah, there are. And I said, I think it's everywhere, though, because it's the end times. And I think we're seeing things now that we didn't see before, and I think they're everywhere. I mean, look at all the broken cars everywhere. Like, I don't know, it's not every other car, but there's so many cars, like, it's got body damage, missing, like, a headlight smash, just problems with all of these, and they're not being fixed. It's because I said something like how the narcissists everywhere are doing this, and you can't get anything fixed. She tried to get a vehicle fixed, she lost it, now she's not really comfortable, she was in an accident, so, this is another thing they do. They want to make you uncomfortable, with driving, not having transportation. She understood. We talked. Mine stopped me from getting transportation. It looked like an accident that he kept getting fired and we couldn't afford a car. No, he always did it on purpose. And so then I wouldn't be comfortable because I didn't drive in 10 years. But I did. And now I haven't had a vehicle again for another year. It's like, yeah, so let me just drive now in the middle of winter for the first time in a vehicle I've never used before. That's a great idea. But this is what they do. They make you uncomfortable. They take away your transportation. They kind of maim you. So, like, they cause trouble with your physical appearance. They cast spells. They poison you to make your cheeks and things sink in and to not look very good. Okay. So, let's see. So, maybe there's more, but they did a lot of witchcraft, and it had a very minimal effect. And it maybe would be a little bit of a downer that, then I'd just, after a couple minutes, I'd just move on and it'd be fine. But knowing that it was witchcraft, then that does really, like, reduce any, negative feeling, like, about what happened. Oh, the cupcake I really wanted, the guy right in front of me got it, that sucked, but I still got a cupcake and it was pretty good, and then, and then maybe I wouldn't have even liked the gravy anyways, and I still had so much food that I was stuffed, but now I'm hungry again. but still, and then I didn't get, like, greeted, and people weren't, like, really sweet or anything, and someone was like, you're sitting in the wrong spot, and, it was less uncomfortable than before, like, when I first started going there. I understand their little tricks now. I do not want to smell urine while I'm eating. I really don't. I'm trying not to be rude to people. But I'm going to be careful about where I sit. I'm going to be very careful about where I'm going to sit in the front. I'm going to sit right next to somebody else if I have to. Because I am not sitting and smelling like somebody took a dump in their pants, while I'm eating my breakfast. I'm not going to do it. But then I'm going to see whatever date that this coven has set up for me. You can try your best. Maybe it's kind of fun. But I'm not biting. I'm not doing it. You can try. Maybe they got something else in plan. They want to poison me, making it seem like it's a date and it's something else. Could be. It could be another setup. Because, like, when I went to another church, then they cast spells on me. So maybe that's like they're going to invite me to a church where it's ran by Pharisees and they're trying to get me. And so they'll think, oh, they're trying to get you with a date, but then I show up and then the Pharisees are casting spells on me. This could be it. I mean, totally could. They wanted me to go last weekend and I didn't, so I'll go this weekend. But God, you got to get me back home, as you know I got stuff to do. Okay, thanks for watching. God bless you all.